At the end of part 1 of the film, after Oliver witnessed firefighters entering the sea of fire and losing their lives, Oliver has since disappeared without a trace. After a long search, Diggle and Smoke finally found Oliver on the deserted island of Lian-Yu. The two announced that his mother, Moira, had been arrested and was about to be tried. His younger sister, Thea, was the only one left at home. The Queen Consolidated Corporation was being plotted to be taken over by Isabel. Oliver thought about his family and responsibility, so he decided to return to Starling City. In the slum city devastated by the earthquake, Oliver saw slogans supporting Councilman Blood everywhere. Diggle said that Blood came from the slums and emerged as the new leader. Blood promised to save the city from chaos after the earthquake and received strong support from the people. At this time, Oliver looked at Isabel's profile and realized that she was trying to take over Queen Consolidated. But Oliver wanted to visit Thea first. Meanwhile, Laurel's legal aid organization collapsed after the earthquake, forcing her to transfer to work at the district attorney's office. That night, while Blood was giving a speech, 4 men dressed in black, calling themselves the Hoods, shot and assassinated him, but Laurel bravely saved Blood. Quentin was demoted to a police investigator after the previous incident. He was reprimanded by his superiors for interfering with the scene because only the chief investigator has the right to question witnesses. Feeling dissatisfied, Quentin left. After watching the news, Oliver quickly found Laurel. She expressed her regret for Tommy's death. Oliver apologized to her for leaving without saying goodbye. After a few words, Oliver went outside and asked Diggle to take him home. At this time, the news of Oliver's return spread, making the Hoods angry because they were overshadowed after Blood's assassination. They decided to change their target to attack him. The next day, Oliver went to Queen Consolidated to negotiate with Isabel. He wanted to stop her from taking over the company. Suddenly, the Hoods burst in and loudly criticized Oliver for betraying the city. To keep his identity as Green Arrow a secret, he restrained himself and escaped. Oliver then went to see Felicity. She asked when he would return as Green Arrow, but Oliver refused and said he didn't want to be a protector of justice anymore because he was still haunted by Tommy's death. He then went to visit Moira in prison. She regretted her mistake. When Moira asked about Queen Consolidate, Oliver admitted that he didn't know how to stop Isabel from taking over the company. She advised him to find Walter to save Queen Consolidated. During Oliver's absence, Thea took over his nightclub. Because they couldn't catch Oliver, the Hoods attacked his nightclub. They took hostages to hunt him down. At this moment, Roy intervened to stop them. Roy took down one of them and discovered that he had a severed arm. Taking advantage of that opportunity, 2 other people kidnapped Thea. As soon as Oliver heard the news, he immediately went to the base. Felicity and Diggle renovated the base and made a new bow and arrow for Oliver. Although Oliver did not want to wear the Green Arrow's uniform to do justice anymore, he had to act this time because the kidnapped person was his younger sister. Meanwhile, the Hoods tied Thea up in a church. They took revenge on the Queen family for the destruction of the slums. When they were about to kill Thea, Green Arrow appeared and rescued her. He then tied up kidnappers and handed them over to Quentin. Quentin asked where Green Arrow had been all this time, and he replied that he was trying to find another way to stop crime and left. The next day, Isabel bought 50% of Queen Consolidated's shares. If Oliver did not buy the remaining 50%, Isabel would take over the company. At this time, Walter appeared and financed Oliver's purchase of shares. Oliver and Isabel each owned 50% of the shares. That night, a truck carrying medical supplies was followed by 2 men on a motorcycle. The driver panicked and asked for help. At this time, Roy happened to pass by and discovered the robbery. He had always wanted to fight alongside Green Arrow, so Roy himself hunted down criminals every night while Green Arrow was missing. Roy drove up to stop the car, but he did not expect the other side to have a gun, causing him to lose control and crash into the side of the road. The remaining robber was Canary. She was a member of the League of Assassins. After the robbers left, the police arrested Roy at the scene. At the police station, Laurel was in charge of interrogating Roy. Through the conversation between the two, it was clear that she had a tough attitude towards people who acted on their own. Although Laurel had sought help from Green Arrow many times before, after Tom's death, murders appeared everywhere. Oliver and Thea went to the police station. Oliver advised Roy to stop his dangerous actions. Roy angrily replied that medical supplies in the slums were constantly being robbed. Furthermore, the hospital was about to go bankrupt. Meanwhile, the police abandoned the area. Roy angrily said that he had to stop it. Roy's words made Oliver think. Soon after, Oliver and Diggle arrived at the slum hospital. The two witnessed the poor conditions and equipment there. So So Oliver was determined to get back the stolen medical supplies. After returning to the base, Oliver immediately asked Felicity to find information about the shipments. Meanwhile, the League of Assassins attacked a warehouse and killed the transporter. When Oliver arrived at Canary, Canary ordered the subordinates to block the way. This person used diamond claws, so he was completely unafraid of the arrows fired by Oliver. He could easily block Oliver's arrows. Oliver saw that long-range attacks were ineffective, so he decided to engage in close combat. At this moment, the police appeared, led by Laurel. Oliver ended the fight and quickly escaped. The next day, Oliver made an appointment to meet Blood at the company. Oliver hoped to improve the Queen family's image in the eyes of the people in the slums, but as soon as Blood entered, Oliver spoke harshly. But Oliver, to prove that his family did not abandon the slums, proposed to hold a charity auction with the upper class participating. Blood heard this and changed his attitude. The two made an appointment to meet at the event that evening. That night, Oliver looked for Laurel. Because she often came to Oliver for help, he thought that the two of them seemed to have reached an agreement. However, Laurel had now changed. She thought that Green Arrow was an outlaw. Laurel revealed that she saw him at the building where Tommy died in the earthquake. She blamed Green Arrow and asked Oliver not to contact her again. Hearing this, he kept quiet and left. The charity auction went as planned. Oliver and Diggle arrived on time, but as Oliver stepped out of the elevator, he received a call from Felicity. She reported that the League of Assassins had just robbed a medical supply truck. Seeing that the auction had begun and Oliver had not yet appeared, Blood publicly criticized Oliver in front of everyone. He thought that Oliver did not care about the slums. At this time, Oliver had chased the robbers. When Oliver arrived at the place where the League of Assassins had finished robbing and was preparing to leave, Oliver had no choice but to fight. Facing Canary and the Diamond Claw user, Oliver was not inferior. The skills of the harsh training course on the island proved to be not in vain. Oliver saw that the Diamond Claw could block the arrow. Oliver decided to use a more flexible tactic. Oliver shot an electric arrow and successfully defeated the Diamond Claw user. Then Oliver shot another arrow and pinned Canary to the pillar. Despite Canary's words, Oliver didn't care and left immediately. After returning, the news reported that the leader of the Assassins' Alliance, who robbed the medical supply truck, had been arrested. The media praised the Starling City Police Department for saving the hospital that was on the verge of bankruptcy. At the same time, Councilman Blood's speech was broadcast. Public opinion quickly pushed Oliver into the center of the public opinion storm. At this time, the problem of the slums became more acute than ever. Oliver also realized this, so he went to Roy. Roy felt someone behind him and turned around to throw an arrow. When Roy saw that person, it was the Green Arrow he was looking for. Roy seemed a little excited to see Green Arrow again. Roy told Oliver that I can help you save this city. Oliver agreed to let Roy help, but not to confront the Assassins' Alliance, but to let Roy be the eyes and ears to collect information about the slums. Oliver returned the arrow to Roy as a token to contact him. Then Oliver went to see Laurel. Oliver hopes that stopping the Hoods will change her view of Green Arrow, but Laurel arranges for the police to surround him. All the good things in the past have been forgotten. Faced with this situation, Oliver is helpless to lower the arrow. Suddenly, Canary breaks the window and rushes in. She uses sound equipment to break the glass, stunning the police. She takes the opportunity to rescue Oliver and take him outside. After going out to face Oliver's questions, she does not answer and leaves in a hurry. The next day, Quentin receives news of a horrific murder case in which a young woman's body was stuffed with flexible polymer. The liquid instantly solidifies and turns the body into ceramic. The victim is then dressed as a doll. The media calls the murderer the doll maker. Seeing the incident, Quentin immediately recognizes the murderer as Barton. He had personally arrested this criminal in the past. The last earthquake had opened a large hole in the prison, and Barton took the opportunity to escape. Because of the previous incident, his superiors did not allow Quentin to participate in the investigation of this case. If he deliberately interfered, he would be arrested for obstruction of public service. Quentin then contacted Green Arrow through Felicity. After they met, Quentin told Oliver that he had always believed that criminals could be punished by law, but recent events made him doubt that belief. He wanted Green Arrow to bring Barton to justice. Quentin and Oliver then went to Barton's lawyer's office for questioning. At first, the lawyer did not admit that Barton had escaped and contacted him, but under Green Arrow's fierce questioning, the lawyer said that Barton was in the ceramic museum. When they got there, they found the room empty. It was obvious that the lawyer had informed Barton. At this time, the phone under the doll rang. It was Barton on the other end. He announced that he had kidnapped a girl and was about to inject polymer into her. Hearing the girl's miserable screams on the phone, Quentin roared helplessly. He had witnessed Barton kill a young girl. Barton then placed the girl's body on the side of the road and was discovered by the police. All the evidence at the scene was sent to a private laboratory laboratory. Oliver asked Felicity to hack into the private laboratory system containing the evidence, but the system was offline. There was no other way but for Oliver and Quentin to secretly break into the laboratory. They hacked into the data connection for Felicity to analyze. Through investigation, she discovered that the victims used the same rare cosmetic. This type of cosmetic was very rare on the market, and only a few stores sold it. They speculated that Barton had targeted this group of customers. Felicity volunteered to be the bait for Barton. That night, she went through the cosmetic stores and attracted Barton. Barton kidnapped Felicity on a street corner. Oliver and the others were hiding nearby. Hearing the noise, they rushed out. Barton dragged Felicity into a warehouse. Quentin chased after Barton, but was attacked and let him escape. The next day, Barton disguised himself as an injured person in the police parking lot. Quentin saw Barton and immediately approached to ask. At this time, Barton suddenly used a stun gun to knock out Quentin and kidnapped him. Laurel was also kidnapped by Barton in the car. Soon, news spread about the kidnapping of Quentin and his daughter. Oliver immediately went to the base when he heard the news. He asked Felicity to investigate the case. Felicity investigated and discovered that Barton had shot and killed a police officer in the parking lot and then triggered the alarm. He then drove a car from the Element chemical plant to take the two victims away. Knowing the location, Oliver put on the Green Arrow costume and quickly went to the chemical plant. There, Barton tied Laurel to a chair. He prepared to inject polymer into Laurel. Quentin was by his side, constantly begging Barton to spare his daughter. Barton hated Quentin to the core. Barton felt that physical torture could not erase his resentment. Barton wanted Quentin to witness his most beloved person die before his eyes. Quentin's screams could not stop Barton. At the critical moment, Green Arrow appeared and shot down the pumping equipment. Barton saw this and immediately ran away. In desperation, Quentin asked Green Arrow to catch Barton at all costs. Now, in his heart, he only wanted to kill Barton with his own hands. On the way to escape, Barton was stopped by Canary. Before Canary's strength, Barton was captured. Unexpectedly, Barton turned around and pulled down several steel pipes, crushing Canary. At that moment, Oliver's arrow hit Barton's shoulder. Oliver prepared to take Barton back to prison. Canary didn't wait for Oliver to say anything before she killed Barton and left. Quentin and Laurel walked out from inside. At this moment, Laurel felt that Green Arrow saved her again at a dangerous moment, making her come to her senses. Laurel remembers that on the night of the earthquake, Oliver repeatedly reminded her to leave quickly, but it was her stubbornness that killed Tommy. Yet she blamed him for everything. That night, Green Arrow went to Quentin's house. Quentin sincerely thanked Oliver for saving Laurel. Although Quentin had previously opposed Oliver's actions, he could not deny the results every time. Oliver took action. After returning to the base, Oliver said that Canary seemed to have secretly followed and helped him. Oliver asked Felicity to find her to clarify whether they was a friend or foe. Meanwhile, in the slums, a man named Xavier claimed to be the mayor. He was using force to control the area. The weapons he used were all military-grade guns. Xavier's purpose was to create chaos so that the people here would submit. One of his subordinates was disarmed by Green Arrow. After witnessing his subordinate's actions, Xavier declared that he did not need cowards. Another subordinate begged for his cousin's life, but Xavier coldly killed him. In another development, Felicity held a party to attract businesses to Queen Consolidated. At the party, Felicity suddenly realized the clue about Canary. She told Oliver that both times Canary appeared, Laurel was there, so she deduced that Canary was not following Oliver but Laurel. Based on this clue, Oliver dressed as Green Arrow and hid near Laurel's house. Oliver set a trap there and caught Canary. When Oliver removed her mask, he was surprised to discover that this person was Sarah, Laurel's sister. Sarah had an accident with Oliver at sea in the past. This was enough to explain why at times when Laurel was in danger, Sarah could appear in time and act so cruelly. Returning to the base, Oliver told Diggle and Felicity that Canary was Sarah. Oliver also confessed that he met Sarah once after being stranded on a deserted island for a year. She did not die after the shipwreck. Diggle and Felicity blamed Oliver for not telling the truth to Sarah's family, causing her family to suffer all this time. Oliver recalled the past and was very sad. He thought that it was better to say nothing than to give Sarah's parents hope. These secrets made Oliver very sad. Diggle comforted Oliver that the more secrets he carried, the more miserable he would be. Oliver then returned to the company. He realized that his previous activities did not improve the situation in the slums. Now he was faced with a slum full of guns. Oliver told Blood that he would organize a gun for cash exchange. Oliver hoped to reduce the armed violence. Only Oliver knew that Sarah had returned to Starling City. She was afraid that he would tell her family about this, so she went to the bar to find him. He reassured her that he had never revealed this to anyone. Oliver asked Sarah why she returned to Starling City. Sarah replied that the earthquake made her worried about her family's safety, but she hoped that he would reveal to her family that she was alive. alive, she just didn't know how to face them. At that moment, Quentin came to find Oliver. After the kidnapping, Laurel fell into depression. She drank every day to forget. He hoped that Oliver could advise his daughter. Sarah looked at her father through the window, her heart filled with mixed emotions. That day, the gun for cash exchange in the slums went according to plan. Diggle informed Oliver that in just 3 hours, they had collected more than 200 guns. Suddenly, Xavier led a group of men to storm in and declared that this was his territory, so all activities had to be approved by Xavier. After saying that, he ordered his subordinates to open fire. The police and them had a fierce gunfight that caused a lot of casualties. Back at the base, Felicity locked the boss's face through the image on the news. Felicity then used facial recognition technology to find his information. She discovered that he grew up in a foster family. Xavier also had a brother who joined the army. That brother was assigned to drive a weapon truck. Xavier had obtained a lot of military guns through his brother. There would be a shipment of weapons passing through Starling City tonight. After knowing the information, Oliver went to Sarah. The two prepared to work together to stop this arms trade. Sarah took action first, swinging an iron rod. Then Oliver shot 2 arrows and appeared. The two worked together to successfully defeat the enemy here. Xavier was successfully captured. Oliver told Blood that he had a chance to run for election to change the city. However, Blood said that there were many ways to save the city and showed no interest in running for mayor office. In fact, Xavier was not arrested by the police but was taken to a dark room by a man in a police uniform. At this time, a masked man entered. He ordered the other man to inject a green drug into Xavier. After struggling in pain, Xavier's eyes bled and he died. The man slowly removed the mask and ordered his subordinates to find another person, and that person was Councilman Blood. This showed that Blood was testing something secret. Since Oliver knew that Sarah had returned, he occasionally invited her to his house. There, Sarah saw a photo taken on a yacht in the past. Seeing the photo, Sarah sank into memories. After the yacht accident, Sarah drifted on a wooden plank for a long time. When she was about to collapse, she saw a ship approaching from afar. Her hope of survival rose. Sarah tried her best to call for help. Suddenly, Oliver called Sarah. He pulled her out of her memories. Sarah confessed to Oliver that in order to survive, she had done some unforgivable things. Oliver tried to get Sarah to tell him what she had experienced. Suddenly, a man in a black cloak broke through the window. When Oliver saw that person, his first feeling was that it was Merlin, because the person's outfit was exactly like Merlin's. The man in black swung his sword at the two people. This person's sword skills were no less than Merlin's. Oliver and Sarah quickly counterattacked. After a while of fighting, the two people controlled the man in black. Oliver questioned who sent him, but that person dropped the chandelier and took the opportunity to escape. After that, Oliver and Sarah went to the base together. Oliver introduced Diggle and Felicity to Sarah. He said that the man in black was wearing the same outfit as Merlin and was good at martial arts. Then, Oliver gave Felicity some dirt on the man's body so she could investigate clues. Sarah was there to stop Oliver because she knew that the man was looking for her. Sarah said that she had joined the Assassin's Alliance to survive, but because she left on her own, the man in black came to take her back. Soon after, Felicity found out that the Assassin's hideout was an abandoned factory. Oliver knew the information and prepared to go there. Sarah advised Oliver not to risk it for her, but he insisted that when the enemy threatened the people he cared about, it became his battle. At the factory, the assassin discovered them. He easily caught the arrow Oliver shot. He provoked Oliver, saying that Oliver almost lost life when fighting Merlin, but he was the one who trained Merlin, so Oliver had absolutely no chance of winning. At this time, Sarah appeared. The assassin asked her to return to the Assassin's Alliance. Sarah, of course, did not want to go back. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 other assassins from the Assassin Alliance appeared. They immediately rushed into battle. In the chaos, Oliver saw Sarah being attacked by 2 people, so he quickly took her and escaped through the upper window. Returning to the base, they immediately realized that they had to quickly protect Sarah's family. After making a plan, Oliver decided to protect Laurel. Felicity would convince Quentin to leave Starling City for a while. Diggle and Sarah would stay at the base. Felicity stopped Quentin when he was about to return home and warned him that the Assassin Alliance was looking for him and that he had to leave the city immediately. Quentin felt confused and said that he was a policeman, so he was used to danger. Moreover, Quentin had not offended the Assassin Alliance. After saying that, he closed the door. Since Felicity could not reveal Sarah's story to Quentin, she could not persuade him further, so she had to return to the base. Sarah knew that Felicity could not persuade her father, so she thought that her father did not know that she was alive and that he was in danger. So Sarah decided to meet her father herself to clarify. Although Diggle tried to stop her, Sarah was still determined with her decision. At this time, Quentin was downstairs, and he felt someone behind him. Quentin quickly pulled out his gun. When he saw clearly, Quentin realized that it was Sarah. Quentin could not believe his eyes until his daughter spoke up. The two hugged after a long time apart. They went to a Chinese restaurant to talk. Quentin and Sarah expressed their longing for each other. After calming down, Quentin remembered what Felicity had said. He realized that it was Sarah who asked Felicity to advise him to leave. Moreover, Felicity knew Green Arrow. Quentin remembered that he had saved Canary before. This chain of contact proved that Sarah was the masked Canary. Sarah confirms the truth and tells Quentin that the assassins will not stop searching for her. For the safety of her family, Sarah was forced to leave Starling City. In another development, Oliver was taking Laurel home. When they arrived at the door, they found that someone had opened the door. Oliver told Laurel to stay outside while he went inside to check. Entering the room, he saw a dagger stuck in the wall. To keep Laurel from worrying, Oliver pulled the knife down and quietly took it away. He realized that the assassins had arrived before Laurel returned, but could not catch her. Oliver speculated that their target would be Quentin. He left the house and immediately called Felicity to find Quentin's location. At this time, Sarah had taken Quentin to her usual hiding place. The assassins had also caught up there. The two sides fought fiercely. Oliver appeared in time to assist. Sarah used a stick to knock down a man in black and subdue him. Quentin pulled out a gun and shot an assassin to death. Sarah did not say a word and broke the neck of the assassin she was subduing. Then she subdued the man who was shot. Sarah warned him not to harm her family and then let him go. Although she was not captured by the assassins this time, she knew that as long as she did not return, they would not give up. Quentin looked at the daughter he had just found, but he had to endure the pain of separation so she could leave. That night, Oliver and Diggle were stopping a counterfeit money transaction in a warehouse. Diggle was in a high position observing the enemy's situation. Just as Diggle was about to leave, two people suddenly appeared and stunned Diggle with a stun gun. Then they took him to a dark room. At this time, a woman claiming to be a member of the Joint Investigation Team appeared. She said that Lila, Diggle's ex-wife, had gone missing while investigating Deadshot in Moscow. Although they knew Lila's location in Moscow, sending a rescue team would cause an international dispute, so she wanted Diggle to go to Russia to rescue Lila. After returning to base, Diggle tells Oliver that he might have to leave for a while. He explained that his ex-wife had gone missing while on a mission in Russia. He had to find her and bring her back. After hearing this, Oliver decided to accompany Diggle because Diggle was his teammate. Then the three of them quickly went to Moscow. Oliver and Diggle told Felicity to go back to the hotel for safety. They went to the bar to find Anatoly. He was a Russian mafia boss who had a deep relationship with Oliver because on the deserted island of Lianyu, Anatoly saved his life. So when Oliver needed help, Anatoly would try his best. Anatoly found Lila's location. She was being held in one of the harshest prisons in Russia. There was almost no chance of breaking in to save her, so they planned for Diggle to pretend to be a prisoner and rescue Lila. The next day, Anatoly used his connections to contact a prison guard. Diggle was then arrested and imprisoned for drug trafficking. According to Oliver and Felicity's plan, Anatoly intended to buy a Russian police car, but the partner intended to take all the money. Seeing this, Oliver approached and whispered a few words into the other man's ear, scaring him into handing over the keys. No one knew what Oliver said. In prison, Diggle searched for the prison warden who had been bribed. During the meal, he was attacked by a prison thug because black people were not welcome here. The prison warden dragged Diggle out and locked him in a bay, cold room. There he discovered that the person locked up with him was Deadshot. At this time, Diggle immediately understood that Lila did not go to Moscow to investigate Deadshot, but to find him. Not long after, the prison warden came to the cold room and released Diggle. The two were preparing to go find Lila when suddenly the warden was killed from behind by Deadshot. He told Diggle that he knew where Lila was being held. If they wanted to save her, they had to bring Deadshot with them. At the same time, Oliver was wearing a police uniform waiting outside. Oliver sneaked into the prison through Anatoly's connections. Diggle went to Lila's cell and successfully rescued her. A mini bomb, Oliver secretly attached to Diggle's jacket, exploded in the duty room. The explosion created a hole in the prison wall. Diggle and Lila, along with Deadshot, escaped. On the way to escape, they encountered the police. In a dangerous situation, Oliver mingled with the police and knocked down a few people. Finally, all three of them successfully escaped from the prison. After escaping danger, Diggle ordered Deadshot to get out of the car immediately. Diggle looked at the enemy who killed his brother. He raised his gun but did not pull the trigger. At this time, Deadshot revealed that he did not accidentally kill Diggle's brother in the past, but Andy was the target to be destroyed. A person nicknamed Hive hired Deadshot to assassinate Andy. The next day, Oliver and the others return to Starling City. Diggle is extremely grateful to Oliver for protecting and helping Diggle successfully rescue Lila. Meanwhile, Thea and her boyfriend Roy go to prison to visit their mother. Moira's trial will take place in 2 days. Unfortunately, the prosecutor's lawyer is Laurel. This case continues to receive a lot of media attention. At the court, Oliver and Thea are surrounded by reporters and asked a lot of questions. Diggle escorts them but feels very uncomfortable. Oliver tells him to go home and rest first. Diggle goes to the company to inform Felicity and then goes home. But just as Diggle is about to leave, he suddenly falls unconscious. Felicity quickly takes Diggle back to the base and calls Oliver. When Oliver arrives at the base, Diggle has woken up. At this time, Felicity announces that the blood test shows that Diggle has the hallucinogen vertigo in his body. Oliver takes out the antidote he prepared and gives it to Felicity. Oliver told her to find out who put vertigo into Diggle's body without his knowledge. After saying that, Oliver immediately returned to the court. At the court, prosecutor Adam was presenting Moira's charges. He wanted to convince the jury to support him through Thea's testimony. At this time, Adam suddenly felt dizzy and fell to the ground. Then the medical staff put Adam in the ambulance. However, surprisingly, the ambulance driver was the Count. After the trial was interrupted, Oliver immediately returned to the base. At this time, the news about the court was still continuously broadcast on television. Diggle told Oliver that after using the antidote, it was not effective. It seemed that the Count had changed the formula of vertigo. At this moment, the image on the news was suddenly interrupted and replaced by the Count's live broadcast. Also appearing in the frame was prosecutor Adam, who had just fainted in court. He said that many people in Starling City now have vertigo in their bodies. He said that the only way to stop pain is to continue using vertigo. After saying that, the Count injected vertigo into Adam. Oliver watched the live broadcast and was furious that he had not killed the Count in the first place. Oliver asked Felicity to find the Count's location, but his live broadcast signal was relayed via satellite to other locations, making it impossible for Felicity to trace the signal source. She examined each frame of the Count's video. Felicity finally noticed something suspicious in the Count's reflection. She zoomed in and clarified the reflection. Felicity recognized it as the symbol of the city's archive. The archive building, which had been abandoned many years ago, was now the Count's vertigo production facility. Oliver donned the Green Arrow costume and went to the archive. After saving Adam, Oliver confronted the arrogant Count. Although angry, Oliver still restrained himself from killing him. Since returning from the deserted island of Lianyu, in memory of Tommy, Oliver did not want people to think that the defenders of justice only brought death to the city. So Oliver decided not to kill anyone anymore. After saving Adam, Oliver hurried back to the court. On the other side, Diggle and Felicity continued to search for clues about vertigo. They discovered that the places where people were poisoned coincided with where Diggle had been vaccinated a few days ago. From there, they speculated that vertigo was spread through that medical vehicle. Felicity found the location of the vehicle. She discovered a lot of vertigo stimulants in the vehicle, but Count suddenly appeared and kidnapped Felicity. At this time, Oliver was concentrating on waiting for his mother's trial. Oliver was completely unaware that Felicity was in danger. Just then Oliver received a phone call from the Count. He captured Felicity in Oliver's office. Obviously, he knew Oliver was Green Arrow. Oliver immediately went to the company after hearing this. Just as the Count was about to attack Felicity, Oliver shot 3 arrows that made him fall down the stairs. In the end, the Count still died under Green Arrow's arrow. After saving Felicity, Oliver quickly returned to the court. At this time, the jury announced the final verdict. Moira was innocent of the murder charge related to the earthquake. This result was beyond everyone's expectations. Although the evidence all proved that Moira was directly involved in that event, the news of Green Arrow killing the Count quickly spread in the newspapers. Blood was very dissatisfied when he read the news. He originally wanted to use the Count's hand to kill Green Arrow, but the Count was killed by Green. Then Blood put on a mask and went to a dark room. There was a person who had survived his human experiments. It seems that Blood's experiment was successful. In another development, after being released, Moira was taken to a deserted place by the driver. After the driver got out of the car, he was suddenly shot through the body by an arrow. At this time, Merlin suddenly appeared in front of Moira. He said that he had only faked his death. Merlin said that she was declared innocent because he had secretly arranged it. He did not want Moira to be sentenced to death because he discovered that Thea was his biological daughter. After Tommy's death, Thea became his only relative. Hearing this, Moira did not know what to do. She did not expect that the secret affair with Merlin many years ago would lead to such a result. The next day, Queen Consolidate was illegally invaded. Oliver and Quentin, along with others, arrived at the scene. The surveillance footage only showed one intruder. The police did not not believe that a person could tear open the metal door with their bare hands and steal an industrial centrifuge. At this time, a man named Barry, who claimed to be a crime scene investigator from Central City, appeared. Barry told everyone that according to the data he had collected, a very strong person had acted alone. Although everyone found it hard to believe, various pieces of evidence showed that it was the work of one person. The next surveillance video also confirmed Barry's words. Only that person was seen carrying a centrifuge weighing several tons alone. Then, at Felicity's request, Oliver agreed to let Barry assist in the investigation as a crime scene investigator. Barry quickly collected many clues using technology. During the analysis, Barry asked Felicity if she had ever met Green Arrow. Because Barry had seen Green Arrow save him on the news, Barry was excited when he mentioned Green Arrow. Felicity was curious and asked why Barry admired Green Arrow so much. Barry said that when he was 11 years old, his mother was murdered. The police have not caught the culprit yet, but Barry feels that Green Arrow might be able to catch him. Felicity and Barry do some research together. They find out that the car the suspect used to commit the crime was a sugar factory transport truck, and that the car had just robbed a blood bank. Oliver immediately went to stop him when he heard this. Oliver jumped into the car and punched the man repeatedly in the face. Even though Oliver used all his strength, the robber did not react. The robber gently threw a punch that almost sent Green Arrow flying. The robber easily pulled Oliver into the driver's cabin. Seeing this, Green Arrow stabbed him with an arrow, but it had no effect. The robber punched Oliver again. Back at the base, Oliver told Diggle that he had met such people on the island. They had injected a serum into their bodies. Then the survivors would have extraordinary powers. So Oliver speculated that the robber robbed the blood bank to create more superpower serum. After speaking, Oliver gave the arrow that had just stabbed the robber to Felicity for a blood test. With Barry's help, Felicity successfully identifies the drug's ingredients in the blood. At the same time, Oliver also found out that Barry was not a forensic officer of the Central City Police Department. Barry was not sent to Starling City by his superiors to assist in the investigation of the case. Oliver asked Barry what his purpose was in coming here. Barry told Oliver that when he was 11 years old, his mother was murdered by a light. Barry saw a figure in the light with his own eyes, and in a blink of an eye, that person took him to another neighborhood. However, the police did not believe Barry at all, saying that he wanted to investigate cases that science could not explain. Barry hoped to find the murderer who killed his mother. Felicity felt very sad after knowing that Oliver had investigated Barry's identity. Then they went to the base. Felicity used the drug's ingredients to track down a warehouse. Oliver heard the news and prepared to go to the warehouse to check. Felicity tells Oliver that based on the curve of the arrow he brought back last time, she saw that the opponent's muscles were as hard as concrete. Oliver believed that he had defeated such people on the island, and now he did the same. But this time the opponent exceeded Oliver's expectations. He easily escaped the rope of the arrow. Oliver's punches did not cause any injury to him. He pressed Oliver down and continuously beat Oliver. When Diggle and Felicity arrived at the warehouse, Oliver was unconscious. They did not know what substance Oliver had been injected with. Seeing that Oliver was in critical condition, Diggle wanted to call an ambulance, but Felicity stopped him. She said that doing so would reveal Oliver's identity as Green Arrow. At this time, Diggle thought of someone who might be able to save Oliver, and that was Barry. At this time, Barry had gone to the train station to buy a ticket back to Central City. While he was waiting for the train, he was shot with an anesthetic injection. When he woke up, he was at the Green Arrow base. Seeing the bow and arrow in front of him and Oliver lying motionless, Barry immediately realized that Oliver was the Green Arrow. Barry quickly came up with a solution when he saw Oliver's symptoms. Barry told Diggle to press the chest while he took a blood sample from Oliver. Barry discovered that Oliver's blood was clotting. Then Barry saw rat poison in the corner of the room. Barry knew that a certain amount of rat poison could thin the blood and help blood circulate again. After injecting the medicine, Oliver woke up. However, after waking up, Oliver felt that he should not reveal his identity to someone he had only known for a few days. Oliver was worried that Barry would report him to the police. Diggle and Felicity tried their best to dissuade him. Then Oliver calmed down. Barry also promised to keep it a secret. On the other side, Blood was mass-producing a superpower serum. In 2 days, he could spread it throughout Starling City. At that time, Blood would create countless people with very strong abilities. After waking up, Oliver felt hallucinations about dead people, so he went to the base to ask Barry if there were any side effects after injecting rat poison. Barry told Oliver that there was a possibility of hallucinations, so Oliver took some of his blood for Barry to test. At this time, Felicity found the address of the mutant, Cyrus. Oliver planned to investigate himself, but Diggle felt that Oliver's body had not recovered yet, so Diggle suggested that Diggle go. Then Oliver would help outside. They went to Cyrus's place. Diggle entered entered the room and found that there was no one inside. At this time, Cyrus suddenly appeared from behind and controlled Diggle. Diggle was completely powerless to fight back, so Diggle had to jump out the window to escape. Currently, Oliver and Diggle were both injured, so Oliver had to go to Quentin for help. Oliver told Quentin that Cyrus had stolen the Queen Consolidate centrifuge. He was extremely dangerous. Oliver advised Quentin to gather forces to be ready to kill Cyrus if the opportunity arose. Oliver also said that after the battle with Cyrus, he would probably lose his ability to fight temporarily. That night, Quentin gathered a team at the police station to prepare to arrest Cyrus. A policeman volunteered to join, but he was Blood's subordinate. He then called Blood to report the action plan. Quentin led a team to a warehouse. Cyrus had already ambushed them there and suddenly attacked them. Facing Cyrus with superhuman strength, the police were completely helpless. Quentin was lifted by Cyrus with one hand. Quentin's teammates opened fire to attract Cyrus. Before he passed out, Quentin grabbed a key from Cyrus. Quentin's teammates were killed by him. This action caused heavy losses. At this time, Oliver was alone at the base, and he began to hallucinate again. He saw Slade, who had trained him on the island. Slade blamed Oliver for not saving him in the past. Slade said Oliver was not worthy to save Starling City. The two argued and then fought. When Oliver woke up, he realized it was all just a hallucination. At this time, Barry returned from the lab and told Oliver that the blood test results showed that everything was normal. It seemed that the hallucinations Oliver had were not caused by physiology, but were just an imagination caused by his psychological obsession after the experiment. Oliver knew that Quentin was injured and immediately went to the hospital. Oliver felt that he was the one who caused the deaths of those policemen. Quentin comforted Oliver and said he did not want Green Arrow to be disappointed. Quentin expressed that he wanted to help Oliver. Then he gave Oliver the key he got from Cyrus. Not long after, Felicity investigated the location of the key. At the same time, Roy was also investigating information related to this case. He secretly sneaked into the research institute and found documents. Roy discovered that someone had entered. That person was preparing to burn all the documents here. Roy saw this and immediately rushed out to stop him. As he was running away, Roy was caught by Cyrus. He took Roy to the lab. At this time, Blood was wearing a mask and was about to inject the serum into Roy. When Oliver arrived, Roy had already been injected. Oliver immediately shot an arrow that exploded the chemical tank next to him. The corrosive liquid quickly burned Cyrus and killed him. At this time, Roy was unconscious. Oliver could not watch an innocent person die before his eyes again, so he immediately performed CPR and cardiac compression to save Roy's life. Blood went to see his boss to report. Blood said that Green Arrow had destroyed the lab. After listening, the boss said he would give Blood a sample of his blood to recreate the serum, but he forbade Blood to kill Green Arrow because Oliver was his friend. At this time, that man appeared. He was Slade, the man who had trained Oliver on the island. After helping Oliver with the blood test, Barry hurried back to Central City. The particle accelerator that Barry has always been interested in will be started that night. After returning home, Barry turned on the livestream to watch, but the livestream was suddenly interrupted. Then there was a huge explosion in the lab. Barry was also struck by lightning and passed out. After 9 months in a coma, Barry became the Flash. Since destroying the mysterious serum lab, Oliver has been out every night looking for information about the masked man. However, for more than a month, he still has not had any clues. Oliver knows how terrifying the human experiment after injecting the serum is. Once that serum spreads, this city will be in serious danger. Therefore, Oliver must quickly find out all the information related to the masked man. But Oliver did not expect that person to be Slade, who was standing right in front of him. Blood has always disguised himself very skillfully. Blood has always received widespread support from the public. As a councilman, Blood also ran for mayor. Oliver also held a party at his nightclub to support Blood. Oliver wanted to promote Blood to the market position. During the party, Oliver wanted to know about Roy's situation through Thea, because only Oliver knew that Roy had been injected with the serum. Thea said that Roy had been acting strangely recently, but she didn't know the specific reason. On the other side, an anti-government person caused an explosion in the city. He placed a bomb in an entire building and detonated it remotely by phone. Because Barry was in a coma, Felicity went to Central City to take care of him. After the explosion, she couldn't collect any clues immediately. Oliver arrived at the scene after rescuing a few people trapped inside and left. Felicity immediately returned to Starling City after watching the news. After returning, Felicity went to Quentin. Felicity wanted to get some debris from the explosion for analysis. In the evening, Quentin arranged to meet Green Arrow at the old place. He gave the fragments to Olive. Then Quentin also made a condition. He asked Felicity to investigate the police station's call history. Quentin wanted to find out who leaked information about the action that night. While they were talking, the nearby city hall suddenly exploded. Seeing the situation, situation, both of them contacted their people. Quentin went to find the police, and Oliver told Felicity to quickly find the culprit. She found the suspect near the explosion area through the unusual phone signal frequency. Because this signal frequency was not the frequency used by mobile carriers, she quickly narrowed down the area and reported it to Oliver. Oliver immediately chased after him after receiving the location, but the other side threw a signal jamming bomb, causing the signal that Felicity was tracking to disappear. In the end, Oliver could not catch up with the culprit. Returning to the base, Oliver angrily blamed Felicity for not focusing on her work. He thought she was too worried about Barry. Felicity argued with Oliver after hearing that and left. Then he also returned home. Blood's election propaganda program was being broadcast on TV. He invited the entire city to attend a meeting. Oliver was puzzled. The recent explosions had caused panic among the people of Starling City. Doing so would obviously cause the anti-government person to strike again. Oliver went to the base. Felicity found a clue in the bomb fragments that Quentin gave her. She traced the IP address to a store. Oliver immediately went to that store. Diggle went to the meeting to look for the bomb. After Oliver entered the store, he discovered that it was a trap. The perpetrator had placed bombs around and set up an infrared system. Oliver was trapped inside. At this time, an infrared beam was shining on his arrow. Oliver could only stay still and quickly contact Felicity. He told her to immediately look up all the information about this building. Felicity told him that the explosive device could be deactivated by cutting off the power. Oliver slowly moved the bow and arrow to shoot at the electrical control box without activating the infrared beam. He finally defused the bomb and rushed to the scene of the meeting. At this time, Diggle had also found the location of the bomb. Felicity arrived and was about to defuse the bomb when she was suddenly discovered by the perpetrator. Diggle rushed to take the bullet for her. The gunshots caused everyone to panic. Oliver discovered that Blood had been shielded by someone else and safely retreated. The perpetrator immediately took the bomb and threw it at the crowd. Oliver immediately detonated the bomb in the air. Fortunately, there were no casualties, but the falling stage light hit Moira. Seeing that, Roy quickly ran over and used his body to shield Moira. At this time, Roy clearly felt his body change because he knew he had been injected with serum. Oliver caught up with perpetrator. A car tail bounced and he fell down. He threatened to detonate all the bombs in the city. Oliver shot an arrow to cut the detonator cord, making him unable to act anymore. On the other side, Laurel noticed that Blood was a bit unusual. She discovered that he had a living aunt, but apparently Blood grew up in an orphanage while his aunt lived in a mental hospital. Laurel went to the hospital to find his aunt. When Laurel mentioned Blood with the aunt, her whole body was extremely angry. She said that she was Blood's mother and that he was the one who killed his father. Blood locked his mother here, making everyone think she was crazy. Hearing this, Laurel could not believe that the person who was about to become mayor could be so cruel. Above is the entire content of the movie. Thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye and see you again.